Hey everyone! So in this video I want to talk about where Nekomamushi is, whether he's going to bring strong allies to Wano in the fight against Kaido, and how exactly will he make his entrance at Onigashima. So just to recap, or give a refresher, we know that Nekomamushi is currently meeting up with Marco in order to try to recruit Marco in the upcoming fight against Kaido. And so right after the Straw Hat Law-Mink Samurai Alliance was made, which was during their time at IZO, we know notable characters led different operations in order to prepare the alliance for a major battle against Kaido and Orochi in Wano. So back at IZO, Luffy, Nami, Chopper, Brook, Carrot, and Pedro went to Whole Cake Island first in order to bring Sanji back from his arranged marriage with Pudding, Big Mom's daughter. And although Pedro died, the rest successfully converged in Wano with the other allies that had arrived earlier. And so these allies were Zoro, Usopp, Robin, Frankie, Inuarashi, Kinemon, and Kanjuro, which we know is the traitor actually. And so they traveled directly to Wano after IZO to organize an army of strong samurai currently scattered, or was previously scattered by locations and beliefs in Wano. And so those were two groups. Now Neko and his guardians separately went on a search for strong allies that would help them in the upcoming fight against Kaido. But there has been a lot of speculation about where Neko is, because it seems that he is a bit late to Onigashima. We know the war has already started. Luffy's alliance has already raided Onigashima and is searching for Kaido at the moment, but Neko is not there, and Inu made this point back in the Wano arc that Neko was late as well. So it leads us to really question what could have happened to him. Well, the first big idea is if Neko somehow ran into Pirate Edward Weevil along the way when he was in the process of recruiting other allies, or just when he was leaving the island that Marco was on. And so one possibility is that Weevil invaded Whitebeard's home island where Marco and Neko met. And if that's the case, then Weevil was probably defeated because he would be fighting against Marco, Neko, as well as Neko's guardians. I think in this matchup, Weevil would most definitely lose. I'm a little bit uncomfortable saying that because we still don't exactly know how strong Weevil is. But in any way, this would delay Neko's travel to Wano a little bit and may explain why Neko is currently late to Onigashima. The other idea is that Neko could have ran into Weevil after leaving the island where he met Marco, and so we know Weevil is hunting for Marco, so he might be on a route to search for him, and so on this route he could have just bumped into Neko as Neko was leaving the island where he met Marco. And so even in this sort of one-on-one scenario, it's not exactly one-on-one because Neko still has his guardians, even in this sort of one-on-one scenario, I think Neko is still really strong. I mean, he went toe-to-toe with Jack for 5 days straight during Jack's invasion at IZO. He's also one of the 9 red scabbards under Odin in the past. So it's very doubtful that Neko would lose, but we are still uncertain about Weevil's power levels. All we know is that he has a bounty of 480 million berries and was a Shichibukai. He was noted, to be similar to Whitebeard when he was younger, so this could hint that he is incredibly strong and maybe stronger than Neko. So there's a small chance that he is stronger than Neko and actually ended up fighting him and defeating him. But we all know Weevil was last seen in chapter 956. He was cornered by the Marines. This was the chapter where the world learned about the abolishment of the Shichibukai system. And yeah, Weevil was probably, cornered, and he had his hands full with the Marines, which also makes it less likely that he ended up running into Neko. The second idea is that Neko is recruiting other allies besides Marco, so that itself takes time. And so that brings me to think there is a slight possibility that the Straw Hat Grand Pirate Fleet will show up in Wano. And now, there was a huge foreshadow in anime episode 745, or the manga chapter 800, at the end of the anime episode, there was this big foreshadow that the Straw Hat Grand Pirate Fleet will be involved in a major event that will change the course of history. And so everyone's thinking this is when the Straw Hat Pirates will launch a full-scale war against the world government. But it can actually also be this battle at Onigashima. This is very unlikely, but there is a slight possibility. Now, there has been some information on where the Straw Hat Grand Pirate Fleet is and what they're doing. We get this from the cover pages of chapters 864 to 919, and so they're called the short-term focused title page serials, dropping in on the lives of the Grand Straw Hat Pirates fleet. And just to go into this a little bit, they're a little bit scattered around the New World. We know that Cavendish, Suleiman, and the Beautiful Pirates have this whole thing going on with Cavendish's own country. They're being chased by fans due to his popularity. Bartolomeo and his Bardo Club ended up running into one of Shanks' islands, and he basically was like, screw Shanks, and he tries to sell merchandise of Luffy, which were decals and pin badges, to the people of this island. On the other side, we see Sai, the Hapol Navy, coming back home, and Sai breaks off his engagement with his expected bride, Uholicia, and their two families seem to be in attention, but everything ended up with a wedding between Sai and Baby 5. And now Ideo, Bluegilly, Abdullah, Jeet, Leo, Hajrudin, and his new giant pirates, they're all doing their separate things. Orlumbus as well. Bellamy seems to have quit being a pirate and becomes a dyed cloth artisan. He was seen painting a pirate flag in one of the cover pages. And so these allies are likely scattered in different areas in the New World. Therefore, it is somewhat unlikely that there actually is enough time for Neko to gather all of these allies and get to Wano over the span of about 60 chapters. So yeah, I believe that the Grand Fleet will be reunited with Luffy later on for an even more important war. Now, if Neko is not recruiting Marco or the Straw Hat Grand Fleet pirate members, then who could he be recruiting? Now, it'd be a big bummer if Neko doesn't end up recruiting any of these strong allies and only shows up with his guardians. This is also possible, but we're all inclined to believe that he's going to come in with some epic entrance and show up with some super strong ally that will help them to take down Kaido. And so I just wanted to kind of brainstorm what are other possible allies that Neko could be recruiting. Now, this first one that I'm thinking about might be a little bit unexpected, but it's Moria. Now, I was looking through the internet and I came across the One Piece Gold website, and there is this theory by the Conqueror that Moria and his zombie army will be Luffy's last allies at Onigashima in the fight against Kaido. And the proposed sequence of events is as follows. Neko ran into Edward Weevil independently, learns about the truth behind Weevil's birth, which he is a zombie created by Moria. This would explain his zombie-like appearance. I mean, he has weird eyes with dark circles around them, and he has 2 sets of stitches on his face, which all points to a striking resemblance to the zombies that we have seen at Thriller Bark. And somehow Nico will meet Moria, and the two will come to some kind of agreement to take down Kaido. Now, Moria's incentive would come from his previous loss to Kaido, which we were shown from the flashback in the recent chapters to the time when Odin was still alive and Kaido was still in the process of conquering Wano. So Moria's incentive would come from his previous loss to Kaido and wanting to have his revenge against Kaido. Now, for this theory, I kind of agree and disagree with certain parts of it. I don't agree that Moria will be an ally because he just recently had a big fiasco with Blackbeard on his home turf at his pirate island in chapter 925 in the manga. Now, just to recap, Moria invaded Blackbeard's turf in order to rescue Absalom, one of his subordinates. Moria was afraid that the Blackbeard pirates would steal Absalom's clear fruit, which makes the Devil Fruit Eater invisible. Now we know the Blackbeard pirates are a group of Devil Fruit hunters, and so it would make sense that they're after Absalom. And so indeed this happened, as Shiryu gained the powers of the clear fruit for himself. Now, we're not even sure if Moria is still alive after initiating a fight against Blackbeard at Pirate Islands. But even if he is, he's likely heavily injured and won't be able to make it to the war in Wano. But here's the twist. I think that Moria being able to find Blackbeard and Blackbeard able to kidnap Absalom indicates that there has been some interaction going on between the two. Now, what could be this reason? This is where I agree with this theory by the Conqueror, because very likely Edward Weevil could be the reason behind their interactions. Weevil, as we know, is on a hunt to destroy all of the remaining members of the Whitebeard pirates. Now, Blackbeard shares this goal and might have worked with Moria to create Weevil, so that Weevil can carry out Blackbeard's plan of revenge against the Whitebeard pirates. But the bottom line is, I do not believe Moria will end up being in Wano as an ally of Luffy's. Now, another possible ally that Neko could be in the process of recruiting is IZO. Now, just a refresher, IZO is the former commander of the 16th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. He is Kiku's older brother and one of Oden's retainers back when Oden was alive. He traveled with the Whitebeard Pirates with Inu, Neko, and Oden when they first set sail. When Oden, Inu, and Neko left the Whitebeard Pirates, IZO decided to stay up until the present time. Now, if you want to revisit these events, they are in chapters 964 to 968 as part of Oden's introduction through a flashback. Now, it would make a lot of sense that IZO joins in the war against Kaido as part of the Pirate-Mink Samurai Alliance. First, IZO is friends with the rest of the 9 Red Scabbards and other members of the Alliance. Second, IZO is probably concerned about what's happening to Wano, right? I mean, IZO is from Wano, and if he hears about what happened in Wano, which would only happen if Neko meets up with him and tells him what happens, because we know Wano is a closed-off country where outsiders won't really know what's happening there. Now, IZO is from Wano and wouldn't be able to ignore the terrible things that Kaido and Orochi have been doing in Wano, and so would likely follow Neko if he ends up meeting Neko in the first place, and Neko tells IZO everything that's been going wrong in Wano. Actually, honestly, I'm confused why IZO is not currently in Wano. I mean, after the war at Marineford and with the Blackbeard pirates, the Whitebeard pirates scattered all over the world, right? So I would expect IZO to return to his hometown in Wano, but he's not there. So where could he be? That is an interesting question that is worth the time to think about. Now, if Neko meets up with IZO, then maybe the other Whitebeard commanders are also with him, and so this could be the strong group of allies that Luffy's alliance has been looking for, and that Neko will bring in the war against Kaido in Onigashima. And that's all for this video. There is no manga chapter this week, but let's look forward to the manga chapter next week, and I'll see you in the next video.